Sure. This is a reimagining of the old Cross Colors logo, and it's done by a friend of mine who owns this wonderful clothing line out of Vancouver called Van City, and Jeff Martin, aka Mr. Martini. So he reimagines the Cross Colors logo, the old Tribe Called Quest album cover, the EPMD. So yes, I mean, I'm bringing back a little bit of the 90s in my wardrobe today.
Oh, I like that. It's very cool. Very, very
Thank
cool.
you.
So you're the new showrunner for Hemlock Grove. How are you going to change it or perhaps develop it further in season 2?
Well, it's not so much changing or reinventing. It's just really taking our cue in the writer's room from the wonderful table that was set by Brian McGreevy, both in the novel and last season, and what that brings up in all of us as writers, what that evokes in us, and then kind of following our hearts with the characters that were set in motion last year and so beautifully drawn.
And how do you see the show differentiating itself from other series in the genre, this horror genre? I mean, there's the new Penny Dreadful on Showtime.
Well, I have a sort of an enforced ignorance about stuff like that. When I'm working in a particular, I guess you'd call it genre, I tend not to pay attention to other shows that are staking out their territory. When I was working on The Shield, I never watched The Wire. I wanted The Shield just to occupy its own kind of pure space in my head, and it's the same with Hemlock Grove. I don't know anything about horror, the tropes of horror, the rules. Really, I write about people, I write about characters. And it's just, are our characters involved in horrific situations? Do horrific things happen? Do they commit horrific acts? Absolutely. But all of it comes out of the character logic of each of the characters individually and the logic of human behavior. The psychology of, for example, Olivia. What is it like to suffer this terrible, terrible brutality at the hands of your son? It's less about the shock value of horror than how does a mother come to terms with that? A mother who obviously loves her son definitionally, but at the same time has suffered a terrible, terrible trauma, both emotionally and physically, inflicted by her son. What is that like for a character? That's really what we're looking at.
And how is it working with the cast and getting familiarized with them? And Landon and Bill, they must bring something to you as a writer just by their age and kind of their enthusiasm.
Well, I'm a really lucky writer-producer guy to have stumbled into a very Tony neighborhood with this wonderful cast. I mean, I cannot say enough about Famke. She can do anything, and that just inspires a writer to really just run wild and free, to just get into that character and peel back the layers. Bill and Landon, it's the same thing. The colors they bring, and they're each so fresh and different. And then the two Maddies. Joel De La Fuente, for example, who plays Dr. Price. What a good actor. And when you're dealing with wonderful actors, writers get very excited wanting to write for them. And that's what's happened with Hemlock Grove. Every single actor is just hitting it out of the park, an absolute home run.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. It's very nice to